Could a father not marry his son?
Well, there are laws against incest.
It's not incest between men.
I don't think any group of people have ever been so back the way this podcast is about to be back. My co-host, Matt Garingo.
Yes, that's me. Welcome, everyone.
Welcome to season 4 of the failed blockbusters, failed fantasy films.
Yeah, we put off starting recording a little bit. If you want a window into what time it is in the world, Trump was shot last week. So
don't tell them.
I'm just I got to give him some context.
Yeah. Okay.
So, hopefully, there's not another event that can confuse people in the future. Because it feels like and Biden just got COVID, so those are the two big events that just happened.
I'm not saying I want this to happen. There's like a 90% chance by the time we're done recording, there'll be like Joe Biden is dead from COVID.
Yeah, rest in peace, Joe Biden. So here's a question: not to like. The whole point of doing the fantasy series was to avoid talking about current events, but I did
not even 2 minutes in.
Yeah, I did have a question. Has any interviewer just gone to Donald Trump and been like, "Hey, are you vaccinated?"
Here's the thing. Do you think he is?
He is.
Or do you think he would lie and say he isn't?
He is, but I also do think he would lie.
Yeah, that's where I am.
Because he definitely fears death, but also doesn't want to admit he fears death. So
yeah.
But weird. There hasn't been a normal week in the past like 4 weeks.
Yeah, no, it's pretty bad.
Now I'm kind of like
everything's strange.
Now I'm kind of like excited. Because I'm like, let's ride this shit till the fucking wheels come off. Like, let's keep going.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like hyper.
We found out there was a fucking brain worm in the head of a presidential candidate,
yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, but don't worry, all the mercury from the tuna he eats killed it." It's just like, I don't know what to do with any of this.
Well, it was kind of like when Trump got shot. It was like Trump got shot in the ear by a random person. And I was like, not a single word of that sentence was good news. Like, yeah. And it was just, it's like, that's everything now. Like,
yeah.
Where every word somehow makes the situation 10 times worse.
But you know what is good news is that, again, we're here to talk about failed fantasy films this season. This might be our longest season of anything we've ever done.
We have a stacked list, and I keep adding more to it. So we might be doing this into, like, December.
Yeah, and you know what? To your credit, I was the one who added the last edition.
But I got
which I don't want to give away yet.
I got a couple we've been mulling over that I wouldn't mind adding, right? As I've talked to you about. Although one of them we are at risk of getting shot if we do one of them. But
oh wait, which one?
The one that's online. It would be two. It would be 2 movies at this point. It would be 2 movies involving an online figure we have discussed several times on this podcast.
Okay, I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, PewDiePie's movie.
Wait, whoa!
I don't even know if PewDiePie's done a movie.
I think it's actually PewDiePie.
I don't care.
Yeah. No, isn't that guy like a Nazi? I don't want to say that if that's not true.
No, he's not a Nazi. He's an idiot.
Okay. Well.
Yeah, I know.
There's some crossover.
Well, remember, like, he kept, like, stepping in, like, he was doing shit that you shouldn't be doing, and he kept stepping in stuff. Yeah. And they got really defensive about it. And I just remember The Onion ran a headline where it was like, PewDiePie accidentally puts on entire Klan outfit during stream. which kind of summed up what was happening in that era. Now everyone's into Mr. Beast. Like, now that's what everyone's focused on.
Oh yeah. who I guess cleaned up like 34 million tons of debris in the ocean.
Yeah, he cleaned up the ocean.
It's all right.
Yeah,
I do like that. I don't know anything else about him besides he's strange.
He's very strange. He's very passionate. Has a fan base that is like, we'll kill you.
Okay. He's not that strange. I mean,
if you get a product featured on his show, you will become worth $500 million. Like,
I'm gonna start adding him with every episode of the podcast. I mean, like, I think you'd like to listen to this. I think you'd like to listen to this.
There's an entire audience there's an entire industry on YouTube now that is just trying to get in with Mr. Beast, because it's like, if you're just in that guy's orbit for a little bit, like, you're gonna get some coin, right? Like,
yeah. I also saw he like defended one of his trans employees, which is more than most U.S. politicians do.
Yes.
That does not mean I want him to run for president. I want to make that clear. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, it's the bare minimum, and he did it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that was it was someone that was like featured on his show that was like a friend of his, like not just an employee, like a friend. And then
okay.
And that person came out as trans, and then like it was actually kind of heartening that someone tried to do one of those like drama videos, being like, "This is bad news for Mr. Beast." And, like, the fans of Mr. Beast came out and have been like, "You're being an asshole." Like, and so I was like, okay, like, the kids are all right. It was a good, like, the kids are all right moment, you know? Yes, they watch Mr. Beast, and Mr. Beast is insane, but they're all right at the end of the day. The other thing, I think he at least was an Elon Musk fan, though. That he thought, but then, like, Elon Musk did that thing where he was like, "Thanks for premiering your video on X, Mr. Beast." And Mr. Beast was like, "Yeah, you know, it didn't actually do much." Like, Mr. Beast very publicly was like, "You know, we don't actually get a lot of traffic from Twitter these days since you took over." Like, he very publicly criticized Musk, so I don't know if that means anything, but yeah. Mr. Beast.
Anyways, we're here to talk about the original Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Yeah, you thought
we hinted that we might be talking about the other one.
You thought we were talking about the other ones, you fucking fool. You thought we were talking about the good one that actually is worth talking about. No, we're talking about this rightfully forgotten piece of trash.
And if you thought we had interesting takes about it, take a look back at the time of this podcast, that introduction we just had, and how we didn't mention anything about the movie so far. It's not really an accident.
Yeah. This was a mistake.
Like, sometimes we're like, sometimes we're like, oh, let's try to stay on topic. Because this one's like, oh, you know, welcome back, everyone. Here we go. Here's the movie.
I do have about a page and a half of notes, but it's all double spaced and in large print.
I mean, it is a movie where, like, nothing works.
Yeah, I would say that. If you want to learn how not to make a movie, it's a perfect film to watch. Yeah.
And part of that, like, makes me feel bad, because this guy was only, like, 29 when he made this movie. I mean, you're not, like, a child, you know? You're an adult. You could take responsibility for your stuff then. And then I found out at 19 he formed an entertainment company specifically to acquire the rights to films, so he can make Dungeons and Dragons as a feature film. So that means he comes from money, so I don't feel that bad anymore. I just wanted to say that and open with that.
Yeah.
So shout out to director Courtney Solomon.
Yeah.
Who would go on to direct such films as An American Haunting and the Ethan Hawke, Selena Gomez two-hander The Getaway.
Yeah, I haven't seen either of those.
Yeah.
I might have seen An American Haunting, but forgot about it.
Yeah. Oh, he also recently produced one of my favorite Netflix films, The Woman in the Window.
Yeah.
For any potential new listeners, that is not a joke. I think that movie's a blast. And the new Strangers trilogy, which, holy fuck, I saw the new one, the first, chapter 1. Did they just forget, like how to make movies? Like what?
And that's what's his name.
Like I'm
right?
trying.
That's Rennie Harlin.
It's
right?
Rennie Harlin.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What's going on with Rennie Harlin, man? Like,
I don't know.
The guy was never like great, but he knew how to make a fucking movie. Like,
No, you make Deep Blue Sea, you know how to make a fucking movie.
Yeah.
I'm not even joking.
but is that
Yeah.
when it's like over Deep Blue Sea? Like,
Mindhunters.
Oh, okay,
because
yeah.
I do think that movie is very entertaining. That movie is like, it is like radioactively stupid. But that is why I kind of love it.
the good thing called Mindhunters.
Good fucking luck if a David Fincher fan listens to this. That's like crazy.
Because, look, everyone pretended to like Mindhunter just to drive me personally crazy. I get it, but the show's been off the air now for a while now. You can stop with the joke. It was funny, guys, but let's all move on. I get it. It was very funny, but we can stop now.
Anyways, I don't know, this movie it's embarrassing.
It is.
And I think the fact that it came out 1 year before Lord of the Rings, that must have scared the fucking shit out of New Line.
Which released this. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. The other thing I was thinking about is that his first choice for director was Francis Ford Coppola.
I mean, I guess I don't know how you get there besides being a fan.
Well, 1990, early 90s, what has Coppola just done?
Oh, didn't he just do Dracula?
Yes. If that Coppola was given Dungeons and Dragons, he could maybe do something with it.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure he would have had his input on the script.
Yeah.
In that it wouldn't have been this one.
No, that's the other thing, is that this is possibly one of the worst scripts ever written.
Yeah.
Yeah,
not written by Courtney Solomon, but written by two people named Carol Cartwright and Topper Lillian.
Who, if you want to know the caliber
their
of their writing, and they do not have Wikipedia pages, which is all you need to know about where they went after this film. Let me actually go to their...
Apologies to Carol and Topper.
Hey, hopefully you got money.
Yeah.
Although those both sound like aliases.
I mean, maybe. I would want an alias for this movie.
So, Topper has written nothing I've ever heard of, but was an actor in the Coneheads film. So
what
it says they were in Coneheads as Cone Pilot. So
okay.
And then Carol Cartwright. Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Wrote Miss Harris Goes to Paris.
I mean, that's not nothing.
Yeah. So. Wow, right?
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
Okay,
man.
so.
I mean, wow.
All right. Okay.
The exact people I'd want to handle Dungeons and Dragons. I'm currently just checking to see if Miss Harris... Yeah, Miss Harris Goes to Paris is one of those movies that has, like, 3 writers. So, that might... yeah, 4 credited screenplays and based on a novel. So,
yeah, Dungeons and Dragons.
So...
Where do we begin?
Not where the movie begins.
Okay.
Because what a bad opening.
You could say, like, I swear, I'm not trying to be just a snarky podcaster taking down everything about a movie I don't like, but, like, genuinely, you could say that about every scene in the movie. Or, like, wow, what a bad scene that was.
Yeah. Well,
or, wow, who guided that performance?
Yeah. Well, here's the thing.
Because, holy shit.
Here's my take on the movie. This movie has basically no cultural value, except it's a good movie to watch if you want to learn how never to direct a movie. Correct. I think it's maybe a perfect document for that. And then it's also good because it was likely used as evidence in the trial for the editor, who was clearly murdered mid-production.
Oh.
The editor who had just finished doing the work print and then was violently murdered. And then New Line was like, "There's nothing we can do about this."
You know what? That I don't even want to like. I don't know, because sometimes like everyone says, you see the first cut of your movie and you're like, oh no. I don't always believe that to be true. I think some people say that to be humble, and some people say that because they find their movie in the edit, which is fine.
And
some people can do that, some people can't.
And some directors do that to be like, I'm such a fucking genius. I saved the movie during editing. It wasn't anyone that did work on the actual day. It was just me browbeating my editor. I'm David Fincher.
Yeah. Tell me how you really feel. But then I think of something like The Empty Man. Have you seen The Empty Man?
Oh, yes. Very good movie.
Yeah. I really like that movie. And that movie, David Pryor has said, like, it's not his finished cut. He never got to finish work on the film because of the Disney Fox buyout. It was a Fox movie production. Disney basically just drops it to die in the middle of the pandemic.
Yeah.
People were like, oh, it didn't go to theaters, which I said too. And it was like, no, they released it in theaters when theaters weren't open. So it's like, okay, well, fucking good work, idiots.
Yeah.
But if that movie is just technically a work print, like, that's a fucking good movie. That's a good director, Like, that is not a hack making a production there. That is like a talented person who understands the craft, working with a bunch of talented artists to make something like legible. I don't know how you get Dungeons and Dragons unless like you truly do not know anything.
No, there's clearly shots that weren't shot for this movie that were needed, right? That I mean, 5 minutes in, I think I saw one of the worst edits I've ever seen in my entire life, which is the lake catches fire, right?
Yeah,
and then it cuts to our what can laughably be called our protagonists on the shore, and it literally takes context clues to realize, oh, they're looking at what just happened. Like, it takes like a good minute where you're like, oh, they're right at the location we were just at. Which I can't think of the last time that's happened in a movie I was watching.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to think of a movie like as poorly cobbled together as this one is.
I mean, there was that edit of Jurassic World 3 going around where it was like, you can't tell when the scene, like when you enter the scene and exit the scene based on the shots, right? Like, it's just, you could have stopped and started anywhere with each given shot.
Yeah, I forgot. Yeah, that might be the one.
But I mean, look, here's the thing. Yeah. Those shots are at least like, you're like, okay, yes, any one of those could have been the beginning shot, but that shot isn't even here. Like, none of it's really bad. It's really bad. It made me think of did you ever see the BBC Jekyll miniseries they did a few years ago, like now over a decade ago at this point?
No, I did not.
Stephen Moffat did it.
Okay, I did hear about it then.
It's not great. It's a classic. It starts very good, and then Stephen Moffat becomes Stephen Moffat. But
why does he do that?
Because he's very proud of himself. Hello, David Fincher again. And there's a shot in, I think, the pilot of someone getting thrown through a window, but they clearly couldn't afford to actually do the stunt. So they just cut to the guy on the floor outside. Like, they cut to the guy in the restaurant to you hearing smashing glass and then the guy hitting the ground outside the restaurant, right? Was their attempt at a workaround. And that has better spatial geography than this movie does. So...
Yeah,
holy
you know
fuck.
what? Like,
I'm
still on like Jurassic World 3 now. That might be.
Oh yeah. Sorry, I'm
like
getting every phone call.
The next
this morning.
worst example of something like this.
What's that?
like just a movie that is so poorly directed, with no sense of space within the scene, no real control of the actors, although the actors in that movie are much better than they are here. I want to mention that the cinematographer on this movie, Douglas Milsom, do you know what his first credited cinematographer work is?
Full Metal Jacket.
Yeah.
Sorry, did you mention the movie that you were going to mention? I totally missed it in the conversation. Or were you meant?
Jurassic World.
Oh, okay. I thought you were bringing up another movie, and I was like, oh, what's Diego got in his back pocket? No, you are 100.
No, it's that one.
You are 100% correct.
Yeah,
this is on caliber with Jurassic World.
No, this is worse than Jurassic World, but
no, it isn't.
I think Jurassic
It
World
isn't.
might be no.
No, because like this is like it's like complaining about a battered corpse not being alive, right? Like it's just dead. You can't bring it back. Whereas Jurassic World, it's like you should be alive, like just by sheer accident. I should at least be able to see a death rattle in Jurassic World, right?
I'm referring more so to Jurassic World 3, but I also...
Why did you watch that?
I guess that first one.
Why did you watch that?
Because my friends are enablers. But the first one is also, I guess, justifiable as a comparison.
Yeah, I haven't... did I see the third one? I might have seen the third one and forgot it.
I don't think you have. I think I would have gotten texts from you about it.
Yeah, I would have logged it on Letterboxd.
Yeah. One of the most hateful, disgusting movies I have ever seen.
Colin Trevorrow just exceeds at that. What's that about?
I have no idea. Apparently a very nice man.
Yeah,
Hello.
that's the funny thing is that he's supposed to be a very nice person, and then like his movies are like, well, this is clearly made by someone who hates the human race, much like David Fincher, and instead it's like, oh, it's made by a nice guy, so not like David Fincher.
Whoa, what is going on? Did you see like David Fincher praise or something recently? Like
I don't know. I'm just annoyed with David Fincher in general. You did mention to me that he's doing a Chinatown prologue, which might be the worst thing I've ever heard.
Yeah, okay. For context, listeners, that was weeks ago. Literal weeks ago. I think I was going through COVID again.
And?
Weeks ago.
And? Are you saying my reaction is over? is a little much?
It might be, but... I don't know.
Who watches Chinatown and goes, you know what I want to see? What happens before all this?
Robert Towne wrote every script for that, which I think is like the big thing. Because David Fincher does love Chinatown, and he did a commentary with Robert Towne for it.
Of course he does. Because he thinks he's fucking directed Chinatown like 7 times. And of course he does it with Robert Towne.
Yeah.
Hey, all right. So Robert Towne's other credits as a screenwriter: Orca the Killer Whale, The Two Jakes, Days of Thunder.
Although that is a Tony Scott movie, it's like Robert Towne and like a bunch of other people you'll never hear of.
The first 2 Mission Impossible movies, but those are movies that are not necessarily about their screenplays, especially when you hear about what the original screenplay for Mission Impossible was. I know, you know the old saying, "Speak ill of the dead," but Robert Towne was cashing in on that Chinatown check for a long time.
Yeah,
and no other.
I guess there's a book or a documentary that recently spoke unkind of him, and Robert Towne did just pass. I don't know anything about him personally. I don't know any hot goss.
Yeah, I'm not talking about him as a human being. I don't know any of that.
Yeah,
but
yeah. But I just know that I think that the book or that documentary, I'm gonna have to find it. Like, it was just like maybe alleging that like maybe Towne got more credit than he deserved. Yeah. Again, that it's he said, they said. I don't know, but I just think that's you running down the filmography. doesn't make it seem like crazy
Well,
talk. Is all.
here's all you need to know about Robert Towne's original draft for Chinatown. Everyone finished it and went, "Why the fuck is this movie called Chinatown?" Yeah. So that's all you really need to know about the original script for Chinatown. So of course David Fincher is like, I want to team up with that guy.
David Fincher's Dungeons and Dragons.
I mean, well, we might. I mean, has David Fincher done a better movie than Dungeons and Dragons Among Thieves? Honor Among Thieves?
Yeah.
Like what?
Alien 3.
Oh, okay, you're right.
Yeah. People think I'm doing a bit with that still. I thought I was better respected, but I guess not.
Mm-hmm. No, everyone should know you're an idiot.
That really is his best. Yeah, no, that really is his best movie. I think it's silly to consider otherwise, but he's made stuff I like. He's basically made everything I like up until Mank, and I did finally see The Killer.
Yeah, bad movie.
It's okay.
Bad movie.
I don't know. I'm like sorry about this. Is how interesting this movie is. We're not even fucking talking.
Yeah.
We also haven't done this in a while, so we are like genuinely catching up a little bit. But like, I feel very like out of the box when it comes to like certain movies from last year. Like you and I have shit on the last Mission Impossible movie a lot because we're like the other ones were competent. What the fuck happened? And I've seen people like go to bat even harder for it with like footage or cell phone camera footage of the new movie in production. I'm like, they've been filming that for like 3 years. That's generally not like a good sign. And I just feel like I'm starting to take a little bit of crazy pills, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I've been there for a while now.
Yeah.
People are apparently... Have you seen Twisters yet?
No, I haven't. I want to.
Yeah, because I'm kind of like not hyped for it, but people seem excited, and I wouldn't be shocked if it was good, right? Like, but I'm also kind of like, it's the wind.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's only so many compelling ways you can shoot a Twister.
Yeah. Let me see. How long is that movie? It's 117 minutes. Okay, so like probably like 90 plus with credits.
Uh-huh.
That's yeah. Any longer than that, it's a death knell, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. It could be good. But I'm not holding my breath for it. But I do feel like I'm in that pocket where people are like, this movie's back to save cinema, and I'm like, fucking really? Like, yeah. I've just been that with a lot of... And then movies I like, people are like, overrated. And I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, I don't know. I don't know what's going on anymore. Like...
yeah. No, there's definitely, like... I think people kind of rally around, like, Glenn Powell because he's, like... That dude's got charisma.
No, I agree.
Out of every orifice, and, like, he's very charming and cool. And so people want him to be, like, the president of movies... Mm-hmm. Or whatever, and like I'm a big fan, honestly. Just I think maybe Twisters is like my least favorite movie of all time. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm looking forward to it, but that is a possibility, right?
Yeah.
I just I don't want to hedge, or I want to hedge my bets. I don't want to place any like sort of like idolization on anything that you know is kind of just getting started. Glenn Powell, like he's been around for a while, but his movie star career is just heating up, and that's exciting. But let's take a breath, you know. But also, I do get hyped every time I see the, you know, if you can feel it, chase it. It's like, yeah,
you know,
I will chase a Twister.
That that's kind of the thing I don't like.
Oh no.
Yeah, I don't like the fucking lag. Oh, you're gonna study Twisters with your new fancy science, lady. What the fuck is... Yeah. It's a science. Like, what is he gonna lasso the fucking Twister? Like, it's...
Do you like the first Twister?
No, not at all.
Oh, really? I like Twister.
No, I don't like Twister. I mean, look, Twister, it has its moments. It's not like a fucking train wreck, but it's not a good movie. it's one of those where like I like Bill Paxton in it, right? Like, and Philip Seymour Hoffman is kind of popping in it, but it is a lot of people being like, "It's coming," and then a bunch of shit falls over again, right? Like, and yeah, it's just I remember the cow. Do they drive through a house in that one?
They do drive through a house. That's very fun.
There's fun stuff in it. it doesn't really work as an. It's like too overly long, like because the action. This will be a problem that Twisters has to deal with too. Is that the action is constantly stopping and starting, and when it stops, there's no juice in the stop parts, right? Because the Twisters aren't continuous. Like they have to keep taking breaks, and the solution Twister finds is to make the people hunting the Twisters as annoying as humanly possible. Like that has the other to show the change in our culture is that the villains of that movie, Bill Paxton has the amazing line where it's like he's in it for the money, not the science. The guys in the black vans hunting the Twisters. Because you know how much of a lucrative industry hunting Twisters is. We've all heard stories of some idiot who got lucky.
That's fine. That's not real.
But I'm just...
It's fine.
But, that's the tension of that movie, right? Like, oh no, the rich guys might do it. They got more money than us. And it's like, yeah, all right. Does it advance the science of studying Twisters?
Look, I think you're taking for granted the great Bill Paxton.
No, I love Bill Paxton on that. Hunt's good too, but Bill Paxton was just one of those guys where it was like, you can put him in a movie where the lead is the effect, right? Like the lead is bigger than him, and he was still amazing in it. So. Here's something I was going to mention though. Yeah. Is the rise of Glenn Powell? Because we were talking about this off mic. Is the rise of Glenn Powell a response to the rise of Austin Butler? Like, if people have been like,
I don't know about that.
No, because we were talking about like a growing Austin Butler backlash. And I wonder if Glenn Powell is being positioned, not like his fault, obviously, but if he's being positioned as, no, we don't need Austin Butler. We got Glenn Powell.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but I don't know. I did see a friend, I don't want to name them in case they don't want any heat their way, but like they said that Glenn Powell, like they don't want him to be like the next face of rom-coms or like movie stars because they're like he walks around like a 6-foot tall can of Bud Light. And I'm like, I think that's the charm though. It's like accessible. Because he's very handsome, but I think there is like an accessible quality to him, like Bill Paxton had, who I do just I think I've just fucking missed Bill Paxton so fucking much. He should be in like every movie.
Yeah.
What a fucking tragedy.
Yeah.
But actors like that, and I don't think Austin Butler has that. Austin Butler is just like straight up movie star, like everywhere he goes, and people always make his interview clips go viral because they're like, oh man, he's just radiating like this fucking energy. And then some of the quote tweets get very strange, but like that is like a movie. That is a movie star.
Oh, you found my alt account.
No, I didn't even see that.
I'm just joking.
No, just some people tweet like they're neat constantly, and I'm like, that's great. Maybe you don't need to share this all the time. Whatever. Like everyone gets caught up in a moment. I get it. I'm not judging that.
Whatever high we were at during the pandemic just hasn't come down. Like
I know.
It's just like we're like fuck it. Like we're all just fucking out there all the time about it now.
Yeah. Speaking of movie stars, I want to bring up the lead of this movie, Justin Whalen, who is not a movie star. I'm sorry, Justin. But he did play Jimmy Olsen in the Lois and Clark New Adventures of Superman, and he played a teenage version of Andy Barclay in my beloved Child's Play 3.
Yes.
I love Child's Play 3.
Child's Play 3 made a year after Child's Play 2, and he's a teenager now.
Yeah. Well, they didn't know what to do. And Don Mancini's talked about it. He's not really a fan of that one because he was like,
yeah, the third one.
Well, I'll just put Chucky in a new concept, like a military school. And then he's like, oh, this idea ran out of steam. I'm going to end it at a carnival.
Yeah, it's 100% that. There's like seven moments towards the end that are like, oh, okay. Like,
yeah.
This exists just to do that. Like,
yeah, but that carnival finale is why I love that movie so much. That is a fucking great set
The carnival
piece.
finale is good, and the paintball with actual bullets, like they don't realize they have actual bullets in the gun, is a good set piece too. But it is one where it's like it was clearly written backwards. Like there's that guy he's like the guy who does the haircuts where he's like, presto, you finished or whatever. That's just there so Chucky can kill him and go, presto, you dead. Like, that's the only reason that guy has that tick. But yeah, I'm not. Justin Whalen's the lead of this movie. He's bad.
Aww. I've never seen his Jimmy Olsen. I bet he was a fucking great Jimmy Olsen though.
Yeah, is that show available?
I totally see it.
Yeah, he could be. Lois and Clark: The New Adventures. Because one of those shows,
sure it's available somewhere.
One of those shows was like caught up in copyright hell for a long time. No, it's on DVD. I mean, like in 2006,
okay.
But
right. It's probably also on Tubi, the people's streaming
you're probably
service.
Right. You know, it was the Superboy TV show that was in copyright hell for a long time. Because like, remember, like DC didn't own Superboy for a little bit. And and then also like the Salkinds were involved with the Superboy TV show, so that was one where I think they put out like the first season on DVD, and then another season didn't come for like 10 years. So yeah, that's a weird one.
Yeah,
but it's so funny that they didn't own Superboy for a long time.
Yeah, copyright is so fucked up in this country.
You know who I hate? Superboy Prime.
Oh yeah?
I hate Superboy Prime. What a dumb idea. I saw what they were trying to do with Superboy Prime, and it just makes me sad to think about.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Remember, because he like punches people's heads off because he doesn't know he's like super strong.
People keep trying to deconstruct the Superman stuff, and no one just tells a fucking Superman story anymore. That's the problem.
Yeah, there's no longer a thing to deconstruct.
Yeah, which is why My Adventures with Superman is the best fucking Superman thing in, like, forever.
Yeah.
If you still like superhero stuff, go watch My Adventures with Superman. It's delightful.
This has been the year, I think, where it's been a stark reminder of being like, yeah, these things should be cartoons. Like, it's like all the best stuff is cartoons, like, that are targeted towards children and young adults, right? Like, we don't have to keep pretending these things are for adults.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay. Justin Whalen's the only thing that saves Justin Whalen from being the worst thing in this movie is that he spends most of the movie next to Marlon Wayans.
No.
Look, I don't hate Marlon Wayans, but he's the Jar Jar of this movie. Like, I don't know what went wrong, but a lot of things did.
Yeah. No, I really like Marlon Wayans. Yeah, he is awful in this movie. And I do want to say, I just imagine, like, that nerd in this era that was like, oh man, they really fucked up Star Wars for me. But hey, at least they got that Dungeons and Dragons movie coming out.
Oh, no.
And then like, you just know there was one guy out there like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, Marlon Wayans is not good as Snails. That's the character's name.
So this is a banger year for him because it's Dungeons and Dragons Scary Movie and Requiem for
Scary Movie is
and Requiem for a Dream.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he was filming Requiem for a Dream and Dungeons and Dragons at the same time. So he was constantly having to go back and forth between sets. So, like, literally the peak of his career and the worst of his career in the same year, arguably.
Fuck, that's so funny. You know what? He is a good actor. To be able to go through those 3 separate modes, or even just those 2 modes that you just mentioned, and, like, not lose your mind, is a feat into of itself.
Yeah.
Like, that's fucking crazy. Oh my god, that's so funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dungeons and Dragons makes Scary Movie look like fucking Bringing Up Baby.
Oh, holy
Jesus
fucking
Christ.
shit. Everyone is fucking calling me today. I'm gonna lose my mind.
Who else is in this movie, Matt? I'm gonna skip down to who we're really here to talk about.
Well, hold on. Let's
today.
talk about Marlon Wayans a little bit.
Okay.
Because I'm looking at his filmography. He does The Lady Killers 4 years later. He's worked with the Coen brothers.
He should work with them again.
He should actually. He's actually funny in The Lady Killers. That character is maybe not the best, and it makes you question things about the Coen brothers, but he is funny in it. So
he was also an heir.
Oh yeah. That was a movie that came out.
Yeah. I thought it was okay.
What are you gonna do? What do you think of scary movies?
I have not seen them in forever. The one that got the most play for me was Scary Movie 3.
Yeah, same.
But I think that's just because it was on cable the most.
Yeah, I think it was on cable, and it parodied Signs, which I was like in the pocket for M. Night at the time. So
yeah, I found their weakness. Without their heads, they're powerless.
Yeah, that's one of the best line deliveries of all time. Or the just cocking.
Or how are you going to wake up dead?
Or the cocking of the shovel, like a shotgun.
Yeah.
Which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
But yeah, Marlon Wayans
We're
is
so
really
running out of steam for this movie.
I just want to say, I was literally muting the movie whenever Marlon Wayans was on screen. And I know we want to get to it, and we can go back. We can get to him right now because he's in the opening scene, which is Jeremy Irons. Which this movie has this long, boring opening thing where it's like, mages rule commoners like slaves, but the new empress thinks that's bad and wants to change it. And it's like, wow, I wonder how this fucking movie's gonna end.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
We cut to Jeremy Irons in a all the sets in this movie, especially the cantina scene they go to, where some of the worst extra directing of all time, by the way. Like, it's like you're in a bar. What do people in a bar do? Like, they kind of shuffle around and like push each other. Like, that's it. It really feels like when you're on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride, and you go through the town the pirates are sacking, right? And there's the robots that just like run in circles, like chasing each other and stuff like that. Like, that's the vibe that all the sets in this fucking movie have.
Aww.
And I mean that derogatorily. Because the lighting...
Yeah, because I was going to say, like,
the lighting,
out of context.
The lighting on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride is better.
Yeah, because out of context, it sounds like honestly kind of fun. Like, oh, a Dungeons and Dragons theme park, you know?
Yeah.
Like, all right. It's like, no, it is not. It is not fun. Don't fall for that. Don't let your mind think that. It's not nearly as fun as it sounds. Alongside Jeremy Irons, I also want to mention Bruce Payne as Damodar. What a performance!
Yep. I mean, he's got like he's got brainworms.
Yep.
So
don't we all? Uh, he returns in Dungeons and Dragons 2, Wrath of the Dragon God,
which I
which
have
is
seen.
a direct to really.
Yeah, it aired on
Holy shit!
Aired on the Sci-Fi Channel. It's better, honestly, but it's not very good.
That's wow. Really?
Because it knows what it's about. Like this one thinks it's a real movie, and it's very sad.
Oh. Yeah. Jeremy Irons, though, to go back to him, probably one of the best actors we have working today, even though he's British, and one of the strangest human beings alive.
Yes, very strange. As you maybe know from the
Yeah.
clip Diego decided to use for the opening of this episode.
Yep.
Which is a thing.
1,000%.
Which is a thing that happened that we just kind of just all collectively decided to ignore.
Yeah.
I believe his quote
It's
about doing this movie is someone asked him, like, why'd you do Dungeons and Dragons? And he's like, are you kidding? I just bought a castle.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good.
Imagine buying a castle.
I mean, you know what? I'd be such a boring rich person because it's like I don't know what I would do with that space.
Yeah, same. Like
I don't like collecting stuff. I don't like memorabilia.
I do like that, but like you go to rich people's houses and it's a lot of like big open rooms, right? And it's like this isn't accommodating for anything. Like
yeah, or like when people buy those places where they're like, "Oh, I have 30 bedrooms or whatever the fuck." It's like, why?
Yeah. Why would I want 30 people staying with me?
Yeah. You know, like, look, I love a lot of people in my life. I don't want to live with all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? The separation of church and state between friendship and living.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, it's fine. There's nothing against anyone.
I am a collector, though. But, like, even then, like, when I think about, like, how much space I would really need, it's not that much, right? Like...
Yeah.
It's like... one room for video games, one room for movies, and even that would probably be too much. Like,
although I will say, if I got one of those big houses that could house like a lot of cars, and I had like billions of dollars, I would probably get that. Like in some ways, I'm a very stereotypical heterosexual man. Where I'm like, wow, cars sure go fast and they're cool.
So you would do the car
I want
thing?
them all.
You would do the car thing?
I think I would. I think I'd get really into cars. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've no joke. I've tweeted about this. I saw the bike riders, and a part of my brain is still going like, I should get a motorcycle, which is not the lesson of that film. But
no, it is not. But motorcycles are kind of cool.
Yeah.
I don't ever want to be on one.
Well,
they are kind of cool.
I live in an area where like there's not like that many. Like if I got in an accident, like I wouldn't be flying, right? Like so.
Oh, okay.
So. And, like, I live in such a rural area where I'm just like, you know, a motorcycle wouldn't be that bad. Like, low gas mileage, and I just go places. And it's a conversation starter. So.
Yeah.
But, like.
You start talking like Austin Butler.
Literally everyone in my life, though, compared, when I mention it to him, like, brings up the shot of Pee-wee riding the motorcycle through the billboard. So. Don't count on that happening.
Yeah.
All right, so Jeremy Irons is he's hamming it up, in not a good way, but certainly in a fun way, if you're laughing at him. Everyone has like clips of him like grabbing the scepter or being like yes, like right, you know.
Yeah.
Look, this guy voiced Scar. And, like, Scar looks like King Lear compared to this.
Yeah, because, I mean, look, I know some people are like, oh, man, this is so bad it's a good movie. I don't agree. This was a genuine struggle watch.
Yeah.
I haven't had one of those in a while. Like, this was, really difficult. And he's not really, like, committed to the performance. He's just going big. And I think people assume going big means you're committed, and that's not always the case.
There is only one actor in this movie who knows what movie they're in, but we'll get to him. But there's only one. So
I have no fucking idea who you're going to say. I genuinely at a loss.
I think you'll agree when we get to it, but it's a person who's not a major figure in the film. So,
okay.
But I will say I do think the funniest Jeremy Irons moment, though, is him when he's like, when Thora Birch, who will get the Thora Birch, is like, I think people should be equal. And he's like, oh, the ravings of a young girl, how ridiculous. Like, he's like trying, like he's making all the mages laugh at her. This government doesn't make any sense. And, and she gives the speech of like, see, like, this is irrational. We got to take the scepter away from her. Because if we don't, she's going to make the decision to make commoners and mages equal. God, what a tension. And, she gives this speech where she's like, look, council, I don't even know what they are. She's like, look, council, all right, you might be cool with him taking this power away from me, but just know, like, the moment he gets the chance, he'll dissolve this whole council. Like, you know, it's like, you should see what he's doing. Like, yes, it benefits you now, but just you wait. And then to calm everyone in the room, Jeremy Irons is like, insolent girl, how dare you, like, right in front of everyone. To really proves her point wrong. Like, yeah, that guy, we can trust him with unlimited powers. So Thora Birch is in this.
Yeah.
Thora Birch, how long is this after? This is 1 year after American Beauty.
Where are we on the American Beauty train?
Bad movie.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Good.
I mean, it's a little complicated because I think if you saw it at a certain age, you were like, this is a really brilliant deconstruction of middle-class America, right? Like, the hollowness at middle-class America, which is something I maybe believed when I was 13 years old. And then I became an adult, and I'm like, this is stupid.
Yeah. I think you take that same script and you give it to, like, a genuine cynic. I think the movie does get better, but it's not that compelling already. Apologies to the great Alan Ball. I hear he's a delight. But that movie is very cutesy about itself for a long time.
Yeah.
And I think that really soured me on it, like, immediately, frankly.
My high school film heritage teacher picked that as one of the movies to show us.
That's too bad.
And that's a movie that opens with Kevin Spacey masturbating in the shower.
Wow.
Yeah. So I don't know what that guy was thinking.
It's all just settling. They chose that, and, like, I'm willing to bet they heard that movie was important.
No,
then,
look,
like,
this was not the first year he had shown that movie.
Okay, never mind.
Yeah, so he knew what was coming because he had a whole speech ready for the fucking thing.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
This movie for Thora Birch is between American Beauty and Ghost World. Ghost World's the next year.
Oh, that's a good movie.
Yeah. But also, like, and then Thora Birch, like, famously kind of never has a career. Allegedly because her father was her manager and no one liked her father.
Oof.
Yeah. So
that's too bad.
There's some stories out there about, so you never know if that's true. Oh god, she was like in a Lifetime movie. She was in a Lifetime movie recently. I guess she was on The Walking Dead.
Oh, really?
The 10th season.
Was it like a later season thing?
10th season
Oh,
of The Walking
there it is.
Dead. So,
yeah.
A show that ran out of steam about 3 seasons
Did you know they filmed almost that entire show in 16mm until, like, the last season. That's just because of COVID restrictions made everything like more expensive.
What a waste of precious film stock.
Hey, look, whatever. I didn't keep up with that show after a couple seasons either, but like they might have kept Kodak like afloat during some very difficult times.
I guess you're right.
Respect.
I have to give them some respect for that. No way.
Also, unfortunately, the Dungeons and Dragons film was also shot on film.
Yeah, but this is before the groundbreaking film Attack of the Clones has yet to come out. So
yeah. What a motion picture.
I mean, this makes Attack of the Clones look like Come and See. Because all right, again, like I this is just because we're fucking broken in the brain, so like I can't not talk about politics.
Sure.
Is the politics of this movie vote blue no matter what?
I think so.
Because it's like this whole thing of like, you don't understand what it's like being a commoner, you filthy mage. And she's like, yeah, but I'm one of the good mages. And so is Thora Birch, Elizabeth, the Empress, whatever. I don't know her name. Franny. That's not her name.
What?
I don't know.
No. I have the cast open. It's Empress Savina.
Oh, right. Of course.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, Savina. Who could it? How could I? But it's like Savina is a good mage too. I don't even know if she is a mage. and she is fighting for equal rights of the commoners, but if you don't help her maintain her absolute monarchy, then Jeremy Irons is going to take over with his rod, and that's bad, right? So you gotta. I know it's hard for you, commoner, but you gotta support the mages anyway. And then they're like,
yeah, that makes me hate the movie more.
I know it's bad. I know it's bad.
Now I'm willing to bet, because we just discovered that director Courtney Solomon funded a production company at the age of 19, so it clearly comes from money. So I'm willing to bet he probably had some blind spots in regards to actual real-world politics.
I mean, really what it sounds like is that this is a guy who played the base game of Dungeons & Dragons and then didn't really have the juice to take it anywhere interesting.
I mean, also that.
You know what? I was gonna pivot to us discussing our history with Dungeons & Dragons, but I think we should save that for a different time.
Yeah,
so,
for the good one.
Yeah.
I mean, we could say, I think we're just winding down. Like, we did kind of trick people into thinking we're going to talk about the good one.
I do have some notes. So let me go through them a little bit. All right, so let's go back to the beginning of the movie.
All right.
With the worst edit in film history. And I was like, this is a movie about an evil oligarchy versus a good monarchy. So maybe not the best politics. There is a dungeon and there is a dragon in the first 5 minutes. And,
oh, I think I lost you for a second.
People are calling me.
Oh, okay.
And I'm just not going to answer. Fuck them.
Okay.
They can wait. They know I'm busy. I'm 10 minutes in. This is exhaustingly bad. We have to mention that the mage school is just called the magic school.
I mean, it's not very inventive.
I mean, like, you couldn't call it something like
yeah.
Lord Firebreath School of Magic, like, fucking put a name on it or something. Lee Iacocca Magic School, like. But it's just the Magic School. Let's go rob the Magic School. And then I wrote Star Wars and Raiders of the Lost Ark were a net negative on the culture.
Oh. You know, I will say, we both criticized, like, society for this, but I'll do it again, especially with this movie, because you're right. It feels like people have been trying to marry Indiana Jones and Star Wars for a very long time. And look, some people are better at it than others, but ultimately, I think those are just two very different vibes that shouldn't go together.
Yeah.
You know, Raiders is a fast-paced action-adventure film. Star Wars has adventure in it, but, you know, it's coming-of-age, like, thematic storytelling. There's big spectacle in there, obviously, but, like, the best spectacle in Star Wars is in response to, like, the drama. Whereas Raiders is, like, that's just the greatest action shit ever, you know? Like, there's a story there, too, but, you know, that's really difficult to combine. And maybe don't try that with your first ever movie, like Dungeons and Dragons.
I know you watch Star Wars about 1,000,000 times on VHS. You can't make Star Wars. You can't do it. You can't do it.
Look, and maybe this is just like a very slam dunk criticism, but special effects were better by this point in human history, and holy fuck, if you just saw this movie, you wouldn't know that. You would absolutely not know that The Matrix just came out the year before this.
You would not know this is between The Matrix and Fellowship of the Ring.
Yeah, because oh my god, it looks like a Saturday morning cartoon derogatory, and not a Saturday morning cartoon positive.
There are episodes of Babylon 5 that look better than this.
Yeah,
like. Here's the thing, is that, like, I feel like that's the criticism, is people be like, this is a Sci-Fi Channel original movie, right? Like, that feels like the criticism. And as someone who watched a lot of that shit growing up, this is a lot worse than that. Like, this is death. Like,
well, it's like when people say, like, oh, it's like they criticize direct-to-video sequels or whatever, and it's like, I'm sorry, fuck off. Some, like, of the best action of the last 20 years, like, specifically martial arts stuff, is direct-to-video action.
Yeah.
You know? Like, there's good work in any space. So, just keep that in mind, because it doesn't... Like, a bad movie's a bad movie. It doesn't matter where it's from.
Yeah.
I also want to criticize some of the last, like, action scene stuff. When it's like the red dragons versus the yellow dragons and the sky, but the sky is also like yellow and red, and the buildings are also like beige and yellow, and there's a lot of like whip pans and flying around, and it's just like, that is straight up a sequence where I don't know where to look. You know what I mean? And they're cutting back and forth with like the people in the tower and stuff, but it's just like it kind of hurts.
Yeah.
Like my eyes.
Yeah, there's no characters, there's no tension, there's no sense of spatial geography, there's no action, and everyone on an aesthetic level phoned it in. Like, it's the worst of all possible worlds in one movie. But let's just round out the cast really quick. People we haven't brought up. There's Marina, the young mage, who's maybe got the only good idea, fun idea for an action scene, which is the rope magic that gets them stuck, right? Which is like, that's kind of cute. It's not executed very well, but it's an idea. There's Norda, the elf ranger. I don't actually know what she does in this movie.
Oh, well, she's the elf ranger.
Oh, shit, you're right.
Yeah.
Then there's Elwood, the dwarf, who you might recognize.
Yeah.
From another film franchise.
Yeah, the good film franchise, Pirates of the Caribbean.
What's that character's name?
Pintel?
Leroy and Skillet. Those those the two guys?
Yeah. Yeah, basically. No, he's super fun in those movies.
Those were really fun characters in the first movie, and then they're in the sequels for reasons that can't adequately be explained.
No, because they were hits in the first movie.
Yeah.
Like, well, you got to bring them back.
Yeah, that's a big problem with those sequels.
I like him still quite a bit.
They don't know who's dead weight and who isn't. You know what was the one good choice of the second one was not bringing back those 2 British soldiers who were like idiots, and then they're in the third one.
Oh yeah, but I kind of like that.
They're
because they just keep getting in like worse situations.
They're fine, but like that franchise, like that's another. If you want to talk about trying to marry Star Wars with Raiders, right? Like that's Pirates of the Caribbean is one of the few movies that like actually got Raiders of the Lost Ark right, the first one, right? Yeah. And then it was like retroactively, let's make it Star Wars.
Yeah, I do love the sequels still.
I know you do.
But I have been very open, and I've told you this too. Like I do wish the sequels were also like semi-standalone adventures. You could have the characters all come back, and they're just in wacky situations together again.
Yeah.
But I do wish they weren't trying to be Star Wars. I don't buy the epic saga. I do buy the romance epicness. Like that works for me. But like, yeah, I that's where I brush up against those sequels. Otherwise, I go to bat for them super hard.
Okay, fuck off.
Well, look, At World's End is one of the most cobbled together screenplays of the blockbusters in the 2000s, and I think that movie is like The Godfather Part 2 compared to Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I mean, anything compared to this shit, right? Like,
yeah. Like, I know we're being like so harsh on this movie. We usually have like either like we'll make jokes or like not even at expense. Or, like, we'll try to talk up another angle about the movie or something. But, like, no, there's nothing in the movie. There's nothing, like, around the movie that is that compelling. It's just, like, yeah, they made a bad movie and everything went wrong along the way.
Here's the fundamental problem that this movie had, which is that Dungeons & Dragons, by design, is a generic fantasy world, right? Because you're supposed to take that generic fantasy world, take the elements, and build something interesting on top of it. And then everyone involved couldn't think of anything to build on top of it, so they just kind of hit a bunch of fantasy beats without thinking about it. And it takes itself way too seriously. It doesn't realize it's a Dungeons & Dragons movie, which is inherently comical. And it's the comedy that's in it is embarrassing. And, the stuff that actually is funny is unintentional. Like the dwarf, for some reason, the delivery of the line, that's a terrible way to do business, makes me laugh. It's just a ridiculous delivery. All right, now, I think we've gone through most of the cast. Oh, Doctor Who's in this as an elf.
Oh, yeah.
He gives some speech. I wasn't listening. I found a video on YouTube that was... the air traffic control on the day of 9/11 in real time, and I found that more engaging than this film.
We should also mention that it is the fourth Doctor, Tom Baker, who is in this.
Fan favorite.
Who is still with us.
Yeah. Fan favorite Doctor. Who's your favorite Doctor of the Doctor Who's?
I got to go with my first true love, Christopher Eccleston, because I started with him.
No, yeah.
So that he's just always going to be my favorite.
That's totally fine. Christopher Eccleston gets super underrated as the Doctor.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Like, he gets kind of pushed out of the franchise
I'm sorry,
after that.
It was one of the worst experiences of his life by all accounts, but he doesn't hold back shit talking it. But yeah.
Well, he's just one of the great shit talkers, and I didn't know that until very recently.
Well, yeah, he was like, when the Queen died, he was like, good fucking riddance.
Yeah. Oh, he's so awesome.
But he is one of the guys where it's like, every time they have one of those anniversaries where they try to bring all the Doctors back, he's like, no. Yeah. And I think he only started talking about it recently, you know? And I think he started to realize that, like, the fans really liked him. But he also is a guy who doesn't give a shit, so...
Yeah, but I think he also recently said he's coming back for, like, an audio drama or something.
Oh, yeah, he did one of those a while ago, actually. Like, a few years ago. There's a lot of... Okay. It's that thing of, like, the 8th Doctor only did that one TV movie that was terrible, right? And he has, like, I think the most, like, spin-off material... because for a while that's where it ended, right? Like it was like it's over with him. And it took a while before we got to the Ninth Doctor. Paul McGann.
My boy,
yeah,
Alien 3.
Yeah, and he only shows up. He shows up in that one episode just so he could turn into John Hurt, the mysterious war doctor. And an interesting idea that was unfortunately in the hands of Stephen Moffat.
But that's around the time, like, after that I start tapping out, so I just kind of have fond memories of, like, the 50th anniversary, great.
Yeah.
And Matt Smith is a super great doctor, you know?
Here's the trick to watching Doctor Who. You wait for the season to be over, you look up what episodes were good, and just watch those. That's the trick.
No, you know what? I'm stopping that nonsense. TV shows are meant to be watched all the way through the good and the bad. You people have it too fucking good with your 8-episode, 6-episode miniseries bullshit. I'm totally becoming, like, conservative and, like, stomping my feet about this shit. We need to go back to 12 to 24 episode seasons. I don't want any more of this fucking, it's like an 8-hour movie stuff. I'm gonna beat someone with a plank of wood the next time someone pitches that. You need to watch all episodes. This is why I liked The Acolyte. I was like, that episode didn't really work, but I liked this. Oh, that next episode was fun. Because that's what TV's about. You sit through it, through thick and thin, with the worst dog shit you've ever seen, and the most entertaining character stuff in another episode. Fucking give me bottle episodes. I want flashback episodes. I want weird romantic drama that the writers clearly had in mind, then realized they had more chemistry with another actor on the show, so they changed their direction. But fuck, no more hop around episodes, lists of what episodes to skip. No. You gotta watch every episode of your television show. Otherwise, you're not a fan. That's what I genuinely believe now. I'm gonna become a zealot for this.
Okay,
thank you for sitting through that.
Okay, a simple I disagree would have worked.
I also disagree.
Oh, okay, all right. We're on the same page. Okay, Doctor Who's in this. That's what we were discussing. And all right, the one person who knows exactly what movie they're in and gives a good performance is Richard O'Brien of the Rocky Horror Show and later the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
All right, I'll give you that.
He's actually, he knows exactly what movie he's in as, like, the leader of the Thieves Guild. He's clearly a homosexual and is just like, oh, I want you to go through my traps, like. And I believe in England he hosted a show that was kind of like that. Like,
oh my god.
Yeah. Oh, I almost fucking stepped in it. Because I was looking at Richard O'Brien's Wikipedia page, and he says he identifies as a third gender, but he uses he/him pronouns. So I didn't fuck up. I didn't fuck up.
Yeah.
No, stay back.
Good job.
I remember seeing the Rocky Horror Picture Show and being like, this was probably subversive in the 70s, and then I rewatched it recently, and I'm like, wait a minute, no, this is still an important work.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that says about the culture, but...
No, I'm running into that a lot lately, where I'm like, oh yeah, I used to think this wasn't subtle enough.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like, oh, it definitely wasn't unsubtle enough. But I think people don't understand that. Anyway, like, no more subtlety. Just be obvious.
He hosted a game show called The Crystal Maze.
What was that about?
You know what? We do not have time to find out, because the premise is not... All right, the program focused on a team of contestants, a mixed group of men and women, attempting a range of challenges to earn time required to help them complete one final challenge, which, if completed successfully, earns them a prize. The premise of the show is themed around challenges set to different periods of human history within a fictional labyrinth of time and space, the titular Crystal Maze.
Okay.
What's going on in England? All these fucking game shows, all these fucking panel shows. You guys birthed Shakespeare. The fuck happened?
Maybe they just gave up.
I guess a world.
They started taking other people's culture.
I guess
at a faster rate.
Yeah, I guess a world war would do that to you, though.
Yeah.
Getting bombed every day.
I was gonna say shout out to Graham Norton, but I forgot he's Irish.
Oh yeah.
No, you guys didn't even get that.
All the best British people aren't British. They're all from some fucking poor country that was subjugated by England at some point, but now they have a fabulous accent. So.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean,
what else you got? Dungeons and Dragons.
I wrote a note that I clearly wrote in a fit of rage because I can't read it.
Yeah, it's bad. The production work just doesn't work. Performances are terrible. The direction is non-existent. It's fucking insane that the person who shot like a Full Metal Jacket shot this movie.
Marlon Wayans gets violently murdered, and it's the highlight of the film.
Oh,
it's a way.
Well, it's just like it's so fucked up.
Yeah, it's so overly violent for what the rest of the movie's been. It's like if someone got shot on Dragon Tales.
A very special episode.
Yeah, we're gonna teach kids about gun violence on Dragon Tales. Remember when they would do that and it was a cartoon?
I was gonna say, yeah.
It was a cartoon and then the gun would be photorealistic.
Yeah.
Be don't fuck with this, kids. And you're holy shit.
You know which one was actually pretty good though? Was Static Shock did an episode with that. At least I remember it being pretty good. Because even as a kid, I knew when I was kind of being cloyed to whatever, right? And it's Static Shock. That show was smart enough to be here's the economics of being a black family in an underdeveloped neighborhood and in city and the struggles that come with that. And
it's almost like the series had a black creator.
Yeah, exactly. And so there was an episode where some kid brings a gun to school because everyone knows the stories now, and it's we all understand the problems that are here and that need to be fixed. And I just remember that being actually impactful, and I remember not even playing pretend guns after that for a while, or that one actually left an impact on me. But there should have been a gun in Dungeons and Dragons, absolutely.
Yeah. You know what's actually the best very special episode that I can think of? Although I don't think it was advertised as a very special episode. That the episode of Teen Titans about racism.
Oh.
Do you remember this?
No, because unfortunately I only remember the one scene with Starfire and Cyborg. Is that the episode?
Yeah,
or is that a separate episode?
No, that's the episode because it's Starfire, who's the most the comically nice character, and this guy shows up and is just racist towards her. Calls her it's a fictional thing Trog or something like that, I think is what it is.
Oh, right. And, okay, yes, then I do remember that.
And she doesn't say anything. And then Cyborg tries to call her, thinking it's a compliment because the guy keeps calling her that, and she gets upset and explains that it means you're worthless. And here's where that here's where the episode's smart though. Here's where that's pretty generic cheesy bullshit, right? Of here's where the episode's smart. So at the end of the episode, I believe the guy, because everyone else likes him. He's nice to everyone else. He's he's kind of like a Captain Spaceman type hero, right? He's voiced by Stephen Root, too. I think at the end of the episode, he has to get saved, and Starfire comes in and saves him. And the guy's like, well, I guess you aren't all alike. Like, it's still racist. And the episode is like, whoa, man. And it's like, all right, you can fuck off now. It's like a very clear thing of like, look, you can save a racist and you can prove your worth. It's not going to change a racist's mind. Like, there's still, like, it's an in-group, out-group thing. And, like, that's pretty smart for a children's cartoon. Where, like, the dumb lesson at the end of that, and the end of this movie, apparently, is, can't we all just get along?
Oh.
So.
Just like Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes said.
Yes. Yep, very good thing to quote in Planet of the Apes.
Yep.
God, can you believe that?
That's fucking insane.
Yeah, that really happened. Just while we're on the topic of questionable lines in Tim Burton movies, I don't think I've seen my sister laugh harder than Beetlejuice saying the juice is loose. Because we saw that trailer like 3 days after OJ died.
God, that's still so amazing.
That is pretty funny.
Yeah. That does make me want to watch the movie now. Will I actually? Probably not. But
I'm rooting for Beetlejuice. I'm rooting for it. Like, it's probably going to suck, but I'm rooting for it.
I mean, hey, look, apparently Tim Burton's a very good television director, so maybe he had to, like, stretch his legs a little bit before actually making a good movie again. Anything's possible. The world doesn't make sense. Up is down, left is right, cats are dogs, dogs are cats. Dungeons and Dragons is still as bad as it was in the year 2000.
One other note.
That's the only thing that makes sense.
One other note. There is the quicksand trap moment. In this, which is the exact same thing happens in the other Dungeons and Dragons movie. And there's something else that happened in both movies that I noted, and now I can't remember what it is, and I can't find it in my notes. But there was something that happened in both that now I can't remember it. Oh well.
I actually don't know.
Oh well. When this movie ended, I watched it on Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime recommended as a follow-up, Buster Keaton's The General.
Did you rewatch it?
Yeah, it's Buster Keaton.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
I think Amazon was like, you know what this isn't? A movie. Wanted to show me the polar opposite. So, yeah, that was Courtney Solomon's Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, thanks everyone for listening to this first episode back. Matt, thanks for joining me. Sorry.
There's no need to ever really watch this. What was the plot of the movie? He needed to get a rod to control dragons.
Oh yeah, we didn't talk about the plot.
And you know how Game of Thrones use dragons as this metaphor for power that's will inherently destroy you, like that quest for unlimited power to dominate all those around you. It's kind of like a fantasy thing. This movie's like, well, if the rod is in the hands of the right person, everything will be all right.
Yeah.
Jeremy.
Man, when Game of Thrones was on, it was so fucking on.
Well, I mean, that's also the Ring. That's also Lord of the Rings. The Ring of Power. So, Courtney Solomon maybe could have done some reading. And it's not about the Ring of Power being in the right person's hand.
I mean, even fucking Harry Potter and Deathly Hallows Part 2 got that right.
Yeah.
He destroys the Elder Wand.
Yeah, he does do that. That's not in the book, is it?
I don't think so.
I think he mentions he might do it, but who fucking knows? Fuck those. Fuck everything.
I don't know.
Jeremy Irons.
Go watch the...
Jeremy Irons gets eaten by a dragon.
Go watch the good seasons of Game of Thrones, I guess. I don't know, or whatever. People like House of the Dragon.
What? Actually,
Matt, you said it was good.
If you can find access to, Xena Warrior Princess, I'd watch that. That's the vibe this should have had.
Oh, okay. You know what? I've never seen Xena.
It's good.
Everyone always talks it up. Yeah, I should. It's Sam Raimi producing. Yeah. There's no reason why you shouldn't watch
Now,
that.
I know you just went on a whole rant about picking episodes, right? And
Uh-huh.
but you just look up what episodes of Hercules: The Legendary Journeys are necessary to watch, because Xena is technically a spin-off of that. And just watch those, and then jump into Xena. So
What if I just watched all of them?
I mean, you really could. Xena is
Yeah.
significantly better, and Hercules, what's his fuck, is so bitter that he became a raging conservative.
Yeah. Disappointed!
Yeah.
The greatest line read of all time.
And then you know who
That would have fit into this movie.
you know who young Hercules is, right?
Oh, yeah, of course. He's just Ken.
Yep. Our boy Ryan Gosling.
That's the only time... That's the only time I've actually made, like, a I'm just Ken joke. I'm pretty proud of that one, actually.
I'm just Ken. Remember that?
Yeah.
What a movie.
It's so awesome. It's so awesome that everyone's super chill and normal about that movie.
You think if they had let, like, if Kevin Sorbo hadn't sucked and they just let Hercules: Legendary Journeys be as gay as Xena, it would be good?
I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Well, report back to me when you've watched the shows.
Okay.
It's about
Okay.
it's about 250 episodes for both shows. So
Oh, that's amazing. See? That's TV.
yeah,
That's television.
and yeah, 250 episodes of wildly varying quality. We need to go back.
Yep. Oh, fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
I'm not even joking.
Yep.
I mean, to bring back Doctor Who, my problem with more modern Doctor Who is that it looks too good. Like, Doctor Who needs to look kind of like shit. Like,
it should look a little crummy. It like that's the type of show that should look like, oh, when someone says like, oh, it looks like a fan film. It's like, no. It's perfect.
yeah, I think
It is perfect.
I think that's why there are so many Doctor Who fan films, because Doctor Who itself looks like a fan film.
Yeah. And here, you know what? To end on a more positive note before we move on to the next episode's actual positive note, maybe Dungeons and Dragons should just be like an ongoing television series.
No, we'll talk about that in the next one. We'll talk about what's going on with Dungeons and Dragons in the next one.
All right. All right. Well, yeah, next episode we're talking about the other Dungeons and Dragons. The Dungeons and Dragons you actually want people to talk about.
We thought it would be funny to do this bait and switch. We regret our decision. Sorry, everyone.
Yeah. No, I haven't regretted doing an episode this much, and I'm not even joking, since Book of Henry.
Yeah, that's a pretty
Which
apt,
was
that's pretty apt.
Yeah, which that is a more evil film. I do think our conversation's better. Like I'm just like deflated after this movie.
Yeah.
You know? But I also don't like feel gross after it. I'm just like, fuck, what a waste of goddamn time.
Yeah. Well, it is one of those movies where there's so much, there is a genuine amount of effort on display and adds up to nothing, right? Like, people worked on this movie, unfortunately, but it never looks better than an episode of Power Rangers, and the writing is just, the writing is somehow below Power Rangers, right? Like, it's bad. I would if you're into there's so many better options if you're into this type of shit. Fuck, I'd watch a fucking what do you call it? Dragonheart: A New Beginning. Like, that's better than this.
Oh yeah, the Dragonheart sequels.
Yeah, the dragon's at least kind of fun and cute in Dragonheart: A New Beginning, right? Like, it's like, oh, he's trying his best. He farts fire, yeah, but you know. He farts fire into a bunch of stock footage from the first Dragonheart. Some guy showed up on Letterboxd like 3 years after I posted my review, defending Dragonheart: A New Beginning, and by defending it I mean going, it's better than the other one, the other sequels, and was like, thank you. Like, this is fairly recently. Someone was like, came into my comments being like, yeah, I'm glad someone's finally standing up for Dragonheart: A New Beginning. I mean, whoever it was deleted their comment. I must have posted publicly about him and kind of embarrassed them. But, oh well.
Or maybe you're hallucinating the other Dragonheart
Oh
fans.
no, he wrote the comment under my Dragonheart 3 review.
Oh, okay. Well, that was Dungeons and Dragons.
Yep.
We'll be back next week. Yeah, that was Jesus Christ. Matt, thanks for joining me. Links down to our stuff below, so we don't have to keep plugging everything at the end of every episode. But yeah, stay tuned. I promise, we have good movies this season.
Yeah.
That wasn't really a problem with the failed awards, but like, I want to make clear after this, there are good movies.
We're doing Dungeons and Dragons next, the good Dungeons and Dragons. So,
yeah.
And if we, not to give away our feelings on it, but we do keep calling it the good Dungeons and Dragons. So.
Yeah, literally on the list of movies, the first two are Dungeons and Dragons, and for me it's in parentheses bad, and then number 2 is Dungeons and Dragons in parentheses good.
Yep,
like
basically what happened.
So yeah, but all right, everyone, thanks for listening, thanks for watching, like and subscribe. If you didn't like this episode, like and subscribe anyways, because you might find something you do like. Thanks for listening, thanks for watching. We have been professionally unprofessional.
Booyah.